I would say, well, I'm gonna tell you the biggest mistake that I made was I didn't have great credit starting off with my business as well, like not taking care of my credit and not understanding the importance of credit. And I think when a lot of people think about credit, they're scared of it because they think credit equals debt. But it doesn't always if you have a plan and if you know how to leverage it.
Mm.
So working on credit is another thing that I like to teach and talk about so they can understand what actually makes up a credit score, what's the most important, what weighs heavy, late payments, that's the biggest, that's 35% of your credit score. So I explain that because my credit when I first opened up my barbershop, it wasn't the greatest. So I had to spend a lot of my money, right? So I'm looking at it like um I remember when I first after I fixed my credit and I applied for a credit card. I was trying to apply for credit cards, wasn't getting nothing.
Mm.
I applied for a business credit card right after I fixed my credit. And I ended up getting a $50,000 credit limit
Oh
with
man.
0%, right? So then that's when I started thinking, I'm like, oh shoot, I messed up.
Mm.
If I could have had my credit right at the head of me, opening my shop, all this money that I spent, my cash money, I could have saved that. That would have been easy money to save, right? I could have saved it, or I could have put it in high yield savings. I could have put it in my 401k. I could have, invested into the stock market some type of way and had it still working for me. And then I
Mm.
could have leveraged that 0% for those 18 months and used that money to furnish my shop. And
Mm.
2 months it would have been paid back. So boom, I'm like scot free, right? So I think me not paying attention to my credit, not just treating it like, okay, I don't need that. I'm making cash every day. I got the cash flow. Yeah, cash is king, but credit is queen. And if
Mm.
credit,
Woo.
then and then people get, like I said, people get scared of credit, right? But y'all heard the saying, it takes money to make money. But
Yeah.
my slogan is it doesn't have to be my money.
Oh.
It doesn't have to be my
I
money. I
get,
can
I
borrow the
like
money
that.
as long as I got a plan and I'm able to leverage my credit. So if I can leverage my credit and have good debt, because when you open a business with your credit, that's good debt. It's not like going buy a car and then now that's
Mm.
like a liability. No, it's good debt if you know what to do with it. And that's how the rich get richer. So I would say that's one of the things along with being able to manage track your income, you have to make sure your credit is in line because when you start to scale and want to grow, you're going to need funding. You're going unless you hit the lotto, you're going to need it. So
I love it.
Uh, Question, you mentioned for those that don't know the difference between a regular savings and a high yield savings.
hmm
Can you
so
explain to them the difference?
absolutely, yeah. So most of your high yield savings accounts, you're gonna on average, most of them are gonna be at least 3%, right? That is growing a year versus a regular savings account is like 0.01%.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it's literally your money is not you putting it in a regular savings account is not going to grow. You put it in a high yield savings account, it's going to grow by at least 3 to 4%. So that's the starting point. I always say use the high yield savings for your emergency fund. And I know you talked about this, Lonnie, in the class where you need to save, you need to calculate all your expenses every month and your emergency before you start investing. Because some barbers be like, okay, Cam, what I need, the Roth IRA, or I need the 401k, or I need to start before you do any of that, you need to have 3 to 6 months saved in that high yield savings account as an emergency fund before you start to invest in anything. So yeah, that's the difference because just a regular savings account, your money's just sitting there. And with inflation, you're really gonna lose it after a while.
I'm
And
loving
most high
this.
yield
I'm
savings,
loving this.
yeah, most high yield savings accounts, I mean, they just the requirements are the same as a regular savings account. Some of them, the minimum you may need is $100 or something like. So it's usually kind of the same. So it's just people are not educated enough on it. So I
There you
always
go.
say, go do your homework. You can put it in Chat GPT, like you said, ask Chat GPT, hey, what's the rates right now in the market for high yield savings accounts, and it'll give you a list of banks that you can go and open up an account with.
I
That was my
love it.
next question. Yeah, I told you she fired.
I love it. It's so
That
crazy
was my
because
next question.
this is like my lesson. So I did tell my students to tune in and not even knowing this game, but you know how the world works. But this is literally my lesson. And just like you two were saying, you give what you know. And that's when it comes off so genuine. It's not like you reading off a book. You're not trying to sell nobody. I'm not trying to sell you nothing.
Mhm.
I'm trying to game you up and help you out from my mistakes, just like you both
Right.
said. So it goes hand in hand. That's why I'm like trying to think of questions to ask you, so I can say, told y'all. Like it's so good. Like
it's
I'm just still just introducing them to this because they're just in barber school. And some of them already, they can expand and have this extensive conversation. So now they have another resource from my cousin, my new cousin that I didn't have.
Hey, cousin.
Hey, I love that you had the students tuning in. Shout out to Molars. And you always have a dope group of students. Speaking of, if you had a barber or a student that came to you right now and they just said, I'm stuck, where would you even start, having them evaluate? It's like it kind of goes to what you were saying earlier. Like, you could hear all of this stuff, and for some people it may click. It may click for Trace. It may click for me, but it may go over some people's head, and they still feel like that was cool. But me, I'm way more lost than that. Like, where would you even start to have them evaluate?
The barber, like a barber in school. The first thing that
or a license, any barber, school or license, yeah.
The first thing we start off doing is like, I want to understand like what your expenses are. Like, how much money are you spending a month just on whatever, right? And then from there, then I need to know, okay, how much you charging for your haircuts. Then from there, it's like, okay, so now we need to calculate and make sure you're getting enough, how many clients you need to get in to be able to hit just that target, just to be able to afford your lifestyle, right? And then from there, then we can say, okay, so if it's taking you 50 clients a week to be able to pay your bills and just live, so if we need to bring in another 10 to 20 clients, so if clients is your issue, then we have to focus on more clients so that you can bring in more revenue so that we can even get to step 2. But if you already there, if then you telling me, okay, this is how much I'm just gonna make some up. Let's say a barber tell me, okay, all my bills total up $3,000 a month. But then we look at how much you charge and how many clients you bringing in, and then you make it $5,000 a month. So now you got $2,000 in there that you could be doing something else with. So now I know you just don't know how to manage your money. So now let's go into tracking your income. So it just depends on where they are. If they at the beginning and they just trying to figure out how to make it so that they can be able to just survive on just barbering, then at that point it's a marketing thing. So now we need to market you to get you out there so that you can get enough clients in, but then at that point you're getting the clients, now you're making the extra money. Now I'm about to show you what to do with it. So yeah, I just
Did you say you were not a financial advisor? Are you sure about that?
She gotta say that. She gotta say that for liability. Like,
right.
Yeah.
I know, like,
because they'd be like, "Well, Kat said."
Yeah. But I'm just saying, you have so much game. That's the good thing about just us. Just so much game, and it just like the willingness to continue to get educated, because we all heard this at some point, but this is dope.
Yeah. And I just think we need enough of it. Like, I think this conversation needs to be had more on a regular basis so we can start getting comfortable. Because the moment you say if I walk into a barbershop right now and be like, okay, come on, y'all, let's start talking about business. Let's talk about credit. But if I come in and say, hey, let's talk about these new clippers that just came out, everybody ready. So I think if we have more of these conversations, it'll just become the norm. And that's the goal for me, is just to make it more of a normal conversation.